Hi, welcome back to my channel. I am Campbell, an author and freelance editor, and today we're going to talk about the cost it took to self-publish Missed Arrows, which is my latest poetry collection. And this one is actually the exact same length as the other one, which is interesting because it has, I believe, 1,000 more words in its word count. So this one was just at 10,000. And my first poetry book was right there at 9,000. So today we're going to go into, as I mentioned, the cost, but I also want to talk about my goals and kind of what I need to sell in order to make my money back. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. So first things first, we're going to talk about the ISBNs, which is the International Standard Book Number. Here in the US, we buy them from Bowker. There is no other site to get them from, so if somebody other site is selling them to you, just walk away. Also, you don't need the barcode because KDP and Ingram Spark will both print the barcode for you. So unless you want like the price to be on there, which I don't recommend because then with Ingram Spark, you have to actually pay an upload fee to now change your cover so that it matches. Just buy the barcodes. Don't buy the barcodes. Buy the ISBN numbers from Bowker. So mine, I did originally intend to only use an ISBN number for the paperback, and then I didn't realize that in the past I had already signed an ISBN to the ebook, so that was $59. I bought the pack of 10 many months ago. It came out to $29.50 each. Next is the cover design. So poetry, and I've gone over this in another video and I'll card it up here, also link it down below, but poetry is very simple. And so one of the biggest changes is I now have a focal point, which I did not have with my debut. I did want to have a focal image, which I did not have with my debut. I just had the ivy going around it. And so I have this one, and of course I always have an image here on the back next to the excerpt. And then I've got my imprint, which you can never see on camera, but it looks like you might actually be able to see that now. So I did talk about the printing experience that I had in a previous video, and I'll go ahead and card that, link it down below, all that good stuff. But the cover design, since I do it myself, I usually do it in Canva, and I do pay for the pro subscription. I did it yearly, so it came out to $10 a month. So for my cover design, that was $49.95. Next up are my proofreaders and beta readers. So I don't actually pay for an editor. I am a copy editor, and so for 9,000 words, right now I would charge $90, but I felt like I didn't need it. My beta readers caught a lot of like small typos or grammar issues, and I do plan on reading it once more over, probably mid to late December. But I'm also planning on doing ARC reader, so advanced reader copies, advanced review copies, whichever phrase you'd like to kind of allude to, it's all the same. But I do anticipate if there's anything really large or glaring that they'll probably point it out, because I know I've done that as an ARC reader for other authors. So that was free. Now, as I mentioned many times before, once I finally do my young adult, I am going to pay for copy editors because it's going to be 50 to 60,000 words. The one I'm working on right now is around 23,000. I have not even gotten to the halfway point. So this book is already a little bit longer than I anticipated it being, but I'm an overwriter, so maybe I can cut some words back. But again, going to use my beta readers, going to use ARC readers, and just kind of help me with the developmental side of it, and just kind of figure out, because this is a genre that I've written a book in it back in 2012, so it's been a while, so I definitely want multiple pairs of eyes on it. But for Missed Arrows, no editing fees. Lastly are the proofs. So the first time I did it, I ended up ordering 4 author proofs because I was brand new and didn't know what I was doing, and that is okay. This time I only ordered 2, so this is my Ingram Spark version, because there's not that lovely little line going across it. This is not for resale. Same price as last time because it's the exact same size, so it's $14.12 to get it from Ingram Spark. KDP actually went up in price by 11 cents, so nothing huge. I don't know why I'm picking up this one. Ignore that. Anyway, the KDP version of this one actually was $6.60. And so all in total, because that was all the costs that I needed for this poetry collection, we are looking at $129.67. To calculate the amount of books I need to sell, this one is going to be new, which is great because it's only my second book, so I'm already doing new things with it. But I'm actually putting this one on Kindle Unlimited because I want to see how it affects ebook sales, because my debut poetry collection so far, I believe, has sold 2 ebooks, and that is it. And I know poetry is something you want to hold in your hand. I totally get that. But I want to see if putting it in Kindle Unlimited can help. I also need to go back and see if I can roll this in Kobo Plus, because it's on Kobo, but it's not in its essentially unlimited program. And so I want to see if that will help. I know a lot of readers prefer Kobo Plus just because it's not Amazon. Unfortunately, Amazon is the best one to publish with just because they give the most author royalties back. But that aside, I am running a pre-order special on this guy. It is 99 cents up until February 13th. So if you want to grab your copy, go ahead, grab your ebook, 99 cents. And that earned me 35 cents per ebook, but I'm also more focused on getting those pre-order sales and trying to get as many reviews within those first 2 weeks as I can. Otherwise, from KDP, my earnings are going to be $4.09 per book, and from Ingram, they are $3.55. For Ingram, I did opt for the 40% retailer discount, which you have to put a discount on it somewhere. Last time, the ones was actually at 55%, so I was making like $1.36 on this guy. And I think I sold... How many did I sell on Ingram? It's something crazy. It's something like 80 of my copies. No, 75 or so. 75 came from Ingram, and I made $90, which is not great. But that aside, I'm also wondering if bookstores bought it. So far I've not noticed a single Ingram Spark sale on this. So I was debating putting it down to 55%. I might leave it there for another month. If I don't see any sales, I'll put it back down to 55% and then report back to you when it goes live to see if I ended up with more, because then that tells me odds are retailers were buying it. And $1, and in this case, well, it was like $1.91 for this book now at the 40%. And so $1.91 is still better than 0. So I may actually change that later if it was turning out that retailers were picking it up, because I would like to try to help that reach as much as possible. And to finalize, that average, because of my 99-cent ebook right now, it is coming out to $2.66 per sale for the average. So in order to make back my $129.67, I would need to sell 49 copies, which should be fine considering that I had 80 or 81 pre-orders for my debut. So that means that this should technically be paid back by its release week. However, my goal is to earn all of my money back within the first month of release. So it took me the 3 months, because my book came out in September, and so it's actually about 2.5 months for me to make my money back on my debut. But it ended up being $212 because I had to re-upload to Ingram Spark, which cost me a lovely like $27 because I caught that typo. Again, whole issue with it, other videos about it. But I also spent more on the cover because I was buying Canva month to month, not sure how I was going to use it yet for my editing business. And then when I realized I can use it for my covers, got the yearly subscription, saved me a bunch of money there. This is also coming out 5 months later. So that $49.95, I don't think I mentioned that, is coming out of October through February's cost for Canva. And that's also a way I'm justifying Canva, because this is a business and I want to make sure that I'm covering my costs almost everywhere I can. Right now, editing services, I don't pay any money for marketing. I do it all myself. I'm also on Fiverr, and that doesn't cost anything to be on there. So I have not put any money into my editing business outside of purchasing the Chicago Manual of Style, which ran me like $80. But it's also like a 1,200-page book or something. Manual, I should say. So 49 copies, I will make my money back. But also, I want to mention again, because I know I mentioned this in the last video, I talked about this, I am doing ARC readers for this, as I mentioned before. So I'm going to open that up on December 15th, and it's going to run till December 29th. So I don't have a cap on how many. So if 100 people apply to be ARC readers and they all can say that they read poetry, because if somebody just applies and is like, oh yeah, I read thrillers, you're not going to like this, I'm not going to choose you, because you're probably going to leave a terrible review of it because it's not a thriller. So I want people who do read poetry, who enjoy modern poetry. If you're someone who only reads, you know, Sylvia Plath and the old school, that's for some reason she's the only one coming to mind. I have no idea why. I had a bunch on my list before in my head. but that's probably not the style that you would enjoy in terms of my book. So if you like modern poetry, you love Rupi Kaur, Atticus, Courtney Peppernell, June Bates even, this is more your speed. And there are some long poems. I don't like the 2 to 3 line poetry. There's a couple pages where it's only 2 to 3 lines of poetry, but it's the end of the previous, so it's like a punch right there. But most of my poems are a half a page to sometimes like 4 pages long. So it is lengthier poetry. It's just written in that modern contemporary style. But going back to the ARC readers, once I close out on December 29th, I'll go ahead and send them out probably the following Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on when January 2nd falls. And after that, I'll go ahead and leave it up for a month. Try to do that. I will document that as well for you guys, because it's my first time doing ARC readers, and I know it's really frightening. I don't want to do book funnel just because, again, trying to cut down the cost, and also I really want to see for myself how it works from the manual side of things, so that when I go to do the automatic, I can see if it's worth the money, or if I can save my money and have it done in maybe a little bit more time, and it's not a headache at all. Oh, that's something I didn't mention. I did not pay for formatting. I format this in Microsoft Word, and I will say, if you're doing KDP and Ingram, KDP was super easy. I think I had everything formatted. Once I had it set up, it took me about an hour and a half to fix all the small little things and make sure, because there are images in this. Images, make sure they were clear, crisp, all that good stuff. But Ingram, for whatever reason, I had to redo a lot of the formatting. No idea why. That took probably about 2 hours to fix it. So all in all, probably 5 or 6 hours of formatting, which I think my first book was like 10 to 12. So we've definitely cut back. But I can't justify paying someone $400 to $500 for a poetry collection. Again, YA, if I need it, I will. I'm thinking about just using draft to digital because I'm going to be having it on the wide, so that would be fine. That would make it a lot easier. But all that nonsense aside, Missed Arrows comes out February 13th. Really excited. It's beautiful. I love the gradient. You can already see there's white. I'm hoping that's just a printing issue because I've already checked Ingram and the file's great. So I'm just a printer, unfortunately. But it's a machine. It's not perfect. They're supposed to be, but they're definitely not. But that aside, thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe, all the clicky button things. And I will see you guys next week. I'm very excited because next week I am going to talk about my experience with the marketing side of book writing and how YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels affected my sales and my reach, if they did at all. So thank you guys, and I will see you all next week. Bye.
There was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room. Damn.